Welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Church of Boulder on this beautiful first Sunday in October. Hello, fall. My name is Janet Evans, and I will be the worship leader today. We welcome all to the Unitarian Universalist Church of Boulder. If you are a new visitor, please email our office manager, Amy Zinn, and let us know how you found us. You will find her email in the Zoom chat. Our church website has a great deal of information about the church and activities, and be sure to check out our Touchpoint blog on the website. Check out our Touchpoint blog on the website. Let's try that again. And you should see that link in the chat box. It is now my pleasure to introduce to you the Reverend Cindy Pincus and welcome her to our pulpit. Cindy is an ordained Unitarian Universalist minister and student of the Franciscan mystical tradition. She currently serves as a hospital chaplain in the Denver-Boulder area. Now please, mute your microphones and join us for worship. Cindy?
Hi, thank you so much. It's very good to be here with all of you. And I'd like to call you to worship this morning in the spirit of faith. Faith that more shall be revealed, that more is coming. So join me, if you will, in an opening meditation that I offered to our worship team this morning, and that I need just about every 5 minutes of the day. So hopefully you'll find this helpful to you as well. So as we join together for worship in our many different places, I invite you to find yourself where you are using body and breath. So begin by feeling where you are sitting and taking a moment to feel what is underneath you, what you are sitting on, what you are wearing, the temperature of your body, the awakeness or the tiredness, just all the information your body is sending you right now in this moment. And then take a deep breath into a soft belly. And then continue to breathe and lift your shoulders way up to your ears, and then let them fall back and open. Breathe into that open chest space in the front, from the sternum, with your collarbones opening wide. And with the next breath, let a small smile come to the corners of your mouth and the corners of your eyes. And from this place, we say together, I am safe. All is well, and more shall be revealed. And so I invite you, if you can remember, to continue breathing all through worship this morning. Breath is our first medicine as we enter this world, and it is yours every moment and every step of the way through. And so with the spirit of breath and the spirit of peace, we join together in worship this morning. May it be so.
Make channels for the streams of love, where they may broadly run, and love has overflowing streams to fill them everyone. But if at any time we cease such channels to provide, we cease to give, we cease to have. Such is the law of love.
If you have a personal chalice or candle near your computer, please get ready to light it. We invite you to type into the chat box where your chalice is lit, the street or neighborhood or what city, if you're joining us from outside Boulder County. Now, I'd like to introduce our chalice lighter, Sarah Volman, a new member of the UUCB Board of Directors. Sarah?
I remember Cindy Pincus's last sermon at UUCB pretty well because it was right before everything changed. Eric announced he was leaving, the coronavirus happened, and church went remote. She told a funny Monty Python joke about Unitarians and also said deep listening requires empathy, humility, not looking away from someone else's pain. I really liked that message because it seemed so wise, and I thought I was pretty good at that. Luckily, though, through my covenant group, I realized that wisdom requires listening to one's own intuition, and I really don't do that enough. I am grateful to this church for giving me routine through this weird time and helping me listen to myself more. I light this chalice in honor of UUCB.
We now invite all those gathered in your various locations to join together in fellowship and community as we all say aloud our congregation's covenant. The words are in your online order of service and on the screen. We gather in fellowship to speak truth to each other, to reach out and touch one another, to care with each other, and to seek the truth divine. So be it.
Wonderful. So this is a time, as we're all gathered here, where we can share our blessings and concerns. And if you would like to share a blessing and concern, you can put it in the chat box, and then I will read it out loud as they come in, and then complete with some communal blessings and concerns. So we start these blessings and concerns knowing that as we speak these things aloud, we speak them so that the helping spirits can hear and can bless them and can assist us with our concerns. And oftentimes the helping spirits are the very people in this congregation. So I invite you to share in the chat if you have any blessings and concerns that just need attention, that need to be heard, and that need to be spoken. Many, many blessings and congratulations to the newly ordained Reverend Emily Conger, which is a wonderful ordination. And we offer our heartfelt concern and ask Spirit for all those assistants who have COVID in this country. For Dave Pitts, who was diagnosed with COVID last week and is home recovering. We ask for health and rest for Dave. Elizabeth Morrow shares that she lost her husband to glioblastoma 4 months ago. And Spirit, we ask that you give her the strength and the wisdom to move forward into a new life without him. There's deep concern for our country and our planet. And we ask Spirit and spirits that peace and justice may prevail. Thank you, Heidi. Liz shares the request that there be peace in our country soon. So let's do our part in every way. We have deep concerns for this earth as the fire continues in many parts of this country and this world. Lori H. shares that we give our blessing and our concern to the true agony of this country. May it result in something much more beautiful than anything that came before. Alan asks concern and blessing for George Brandon, who's undergoing chemotherapy in the hospital, but who is here in our service today nonetheless. And we give our hearts and concern for all those who are struggling with depression and anxiety at this time. That's a big struggle. We see you, we are with you. Your life matters. Blessings on the beloved fur baby Will, who it seems has just passed to his journey over the Rainbow Bridge. Will, go well on your way. Prayers for George. May you be blessed with our prayers. Many blessings for clearer blue skies this morning. It is nice to see that again. Hilton and Jenny share that they're happily healing from spine surgery in mid-September with help from his wife, Jenny, or her wife, sorry for gendering that, who is a great nurse, and all the good wishes from many of you. I ask many blessings on the leaders of our country. I always ask that they be completely healed of all traumas, harms, depressions, spiritual malaises, physical discomforts. And I ask that they always be blessed with wisdom and insight and compassion, no matter if I share their political views or not. I wish wellness for all of them. And for all of us, I wish for all of us to be well together as a political organization. And I ask special blessings on all those concerns in our hearts, the sighs too deep for words that are there nonetheless, even if we are not able to speak them aloud at this time. Spirit and God and our family and loved ones still see them and know that we carry these heavy things at this time and know that we carry secret blessings within us. So I ask that all of those be recognized by everyone in this congregation. And just remember that we don't always look like what we've been through and what we're going through. And so kindness is always the greatest blessing of all. And I ask that for each of us at this time.
Thank you, Reverend Cindy, so much for being here today.
Mm-hmm.
Today's reading is from Luke chapter 6, verses 27 to 36. But to you who are listening, I say, love your enemies, do good to those who hate you, bless those who curse you, pray for those who mistreat you. If someone slaps you on one cheek, turn to them the other also. If someone takes your coat, do not withhold your shirt from them. Give to everyone who asks you, and if anyone takes what belongs to you, do not demand it back. Do to others as you would have them do to you. If you love those who love you, what credit is that to you? Even sinners love those who love them. And if you do good to those who are good to you, what credit is that to you? Even sinners do that. And if you lend to those from whom you expect repayment, what credit is that to you? Even sinners lend to sinners, expecting to be repaid in full. But love your enemies, do good to them, and lend to them without expecting to get anything back. Then your reward will be great, and you will be children of the Most High, because he is kind to the ungrateful and wicked. Be merciful, just as your Father is merciful. Thus ends our reading.
Thank you so much for that reading. Give me just a moment. This is the equivalent of the minister walking up to the pulpit and shuffling her papers. So give me just a second here. Okay. So let me just start by saying how truly grateful I am that you all are here this morning. I mean, let me really give thanks to the people that are this church. The people who have, in the midst of all of this, not only continued to come to spiritual community, but have in fact insisted upon it. Let me give thanks for each of your lives, for each one of the things that each one of you struggles with, celebrates, is confused by, loves, hates, longs for, has lost, and hopes will always come again. These are things worthy of giving thanks for. So let me and let us all give thanks to each other right now for setting aside this time and space to be together in this beautiful place of faith. We have somehow managed to create church in the internet, in the ether, and it's working, and it's worth giving thanks for. And it's work of people who believe that this is not the last stop in a time when it sure looks like the last stop has come. So let me give thanks as we begin as a practice of beginning. To give thanks as we start something to people, which is you, all of you. And the reason I start with this practice is because we're in a time right now where it feels like very few people are giving thanks for each other. And honestly, I'm the first to confess that I do not want to give my thanks to most people in the world. Actually, I want to curse them, call them real bad names, wish misfortune upon all their descendants, and pray deeply that they get stuck in the worst rush hour traffic every day on their way home from work. And you know what? It's likely that there are people wishing that on me too. Even if they don't know me specifically, they see a young queer feminist talking about Jesus and religion, trying to save the trees and the whales, insisting that trans people's rights are actually inherently tied up with my own rights, and celebrating the fabulous work of the Honorable Ruth Bader Ginsburg, who fought for women and who died on Rosh Hashanah, the day that the Jewish mystics tell us is the day that only the holiest die on. Not to mention, I know for certain that Black Lives Matter always, not just when they're cut short on video. So yes, I'm guessing, based on the political milieu of this country right now, that there are a few curses on my head too. I am sure that I have what they call enemies. And I have a few enemies of my own as well. So let's pause and ask, what is an enemy? An enemy is someone who is against me, someone I am against, someone trying to stop me. And as my friend Sally says, often my greatest teachers, but I don't want to give away the whole sermon up front. Enemies are the ones who threaten me, who are going to take something that is mine. And the thing they are taking, they don't deserve to have. The thing they're doing, they don't deserve to do. The thing they most want, they don't even deserve, let alone know what they should really want. These are all things that enemies are. And you know what else an enemy is? It's a category with one label only, not me. And if we are anything as a culture right now, we are a people addicted to categories. Addiction is the pursuit of anything, it could really be anything at all, that's not spirit. In other words, it's trying to use things that aren't spirit to fill the spirit-sized hole. And I know because I have used many things that weren't spirit to try and fill that hole. Alcohol, will you be spirit? Tobacco, will you be spirit? Friendship, romance, drugs, sex, will you be spirit? Work, will you be spirit? Anything at all, anything except spirit. And so now we have become addicted to categories in that way. We have put categories in the place of spirit. We have decided that categories are our higher power, and they're just not qualified for the job. Okay, so let's talk about Jesus for a second. One of his most famous teachings is, annoyingly, love your enemies. Because annoyingly, God or Spirit is kind and merciful to the ungrateful and the wicked and the good alike. Annoying, unfair, doesn't make sense. What is actually going on here? I'll just cut right to the chase so we can explore it a little deeper. Spirit has no categories. Spirit has no enemies because spirit has no not me. All is spirit. All is alive. All is divine and all is holy, including each one of us. So that's a really nice teaching when we're around people we really like all the wonderful folks here on this Zoom call this morning. But how do we put that into practice when we're around people who really look like enemies, who really don't look like they have any spirit in them at all? You can probably name a few to yourself right now. Jesus didn't actually have any enemies either. He had a lot of people who auditioned for the role of enemy: Pharisees, Sadducees, Roman soldiers, tax collectors, or in modern language, police officers, Senate majority leaders, attorneys general, alt-right internet trolls, Proud Boys, anti-maskers. And Jesus's trick was that he recast all of his enemies in a new role. We can actually do this magic too. It doesn't mean you have to go all the way to the end and get yourself hung up on a cross. In fact, I would recommend you don't, because we need your life more than we need your death. But the magic is still ours all along the way. So here's the trick. When someone approaches us auditioning for the role of enemy in your life, you will notice it immediately in a few ways. You will feel anger immediately. You will also feel fear immediately. Then you will feel anger and fear back and forth. Blame is right behind. Watch your own hand suddenly rising to about chest level and pointing a finger. Then you will know for sure that you have an enemy before you. Sometimes your loved ones can even accidentally become your enemy, and then you get really confused. Enemies also come with very specific energetic frequencies and frequency fields. So take a moment and call to mind an enemy Could be personal or political or economic. Here are the frequencies I'm guessing surround this enemy. The field of fear, the frequency of anger, the frequency field of other, the field of not me, the field of not spirit, oftentimes the field frequency of idiocy, the field frequency of better than and self-righteousness, and almost always the field frequency of, damn, it feels so good to hate you. And each of these fields is an invitation to participate, an invitation to dance. And I will be the first to admit that I accept the invitation more often than not. In fact, sometimes I send my RSVPs ahead of time. And Jesus, just like every other human being on this planet, encountered these frequencies as well. Honestly, if you know about him cursing the poor fig tree for no good reason, other than that he was just kind of hangry, you will know that Jesus danced in these frequency fields quite often. But where he spent most of his time was in the Christ consciousness frequency, which holds the frequency fields of pure love, deep forgiveness, compassion beyond measure, pure light, and the ability to see everything and everyone with the eyes of spirit. That was his magic trick. That's how he got unaddicted from the category of enemy. And that's how he turned his enemies into spirit, into friends. He would encounter these people auditioning to be in the role of enemy, in the frequency fields of enemy, and he just opened a different frequency. I know, it sounds like mystical magic that actually may fit right in with a Boulder congregation, said lovingly as a longtime resident of Colorado. But this may also sound either way too far out or way too simple to actually be true. I get it. I didn't used to believe I could do Jesus magic either. And let me also just say that Jesus was not the only one who knew how to do this magic trick. Buddha also knew it. Krishna for sure knew it. Yogananda knew it. Ruth Bader Ginsburg sure knew how to do it. Alan Watts knew this trick. Hildegard von Bingen used this magic all the time. All the enlightened ones used this magic trick. Jesus was, as we know, just one of many, many, many. So here's the trick. I'm going to teach it to you right now. Put your hand on your heart. Call to mind your enemy, as we did before. And now say out loud with the power of the human voice, I open the field of love. And you can really say it out loud if you want, because you're all muted, so it won't be awkward. I open the field of love. I open the frequency of compassion. I open the field of wisdom. I open the frequency of pure light. I open the frequency of miracles and all possibilities. I open the field of spirit. And you can open any field that you need at any time. Happiness, joy, humor, laughter. And when you do this, you may find that the walls of the category of enemy have dissolved, that they cannot withstand the power of these Christ frequency, Buddha frequency, Magdalena frequency fields. Because in spirit, there are no categories and there are no enemies. When we open these frequency fields, the only thing we can do is see everyone, enemy and friend alike, with the all-inclusive eyes of spirit. This is the work we must do in the world right now if we're going to live through what is happening. Now, to be clear, I don't mean we all go into spiritual bypass and just sit on our lovely meditation cushions, of which I have many, just chanting that everything is love and light frequencies and there's no problems in the world, because it's not true, and that's not what we're going to do with this magic. What we do with these high frequency fields is we go to the courts. We stand and march in the middle of the protests. We call our senators every single time. We go to the ICE detention centers. We go to the borders. We get in the middle of wherever it looks like there are the most and strongest enemies. And there is where we open the fields. Because what we're doing is pure alchemy. We open these fields and we change the alchemical nature of the universe, just enough, just a little bit each time. We wake up spirit in ourselves. We wake up spirit in the category of enemy, and we come alive to our deep connectedness in all our beautiful diversity. So consider these fields a little something you can put in your tool belt. You can use them anywhere at any time, and I encourage you to experiment in low-stakes situations. The grocery store, while watching the news, with your loved ones, with neutral strangers you pass on the street. Try this beautiful practice given to us by all the enlightened ones through time and space, and just see what happens. In this way, we may, from time to time, be able to fulfill our true purpose on this earth, which is simply to empty ourselves of all categories, all separation, all pain and anger and fear, and become a walking blessing on this earth. As they say in our songs, it will be hard, we know, and the road will be muddy and rough, but we'll get there. And this is the path of magic and blessing that will lead the way. May it be so in your life and the lives of all you encounter. Amen.
Okay, thank you, Reverend Cindy. So this month, we share our offering plate with CIRC, the Colorado Immigration Rights Coalition, a statewide membership-based coalition of immigrant, faith, labor, youth, community, business, and ally organizations. It was founded in 2002 to improve the lives of immigrants and refugees by making Colorado a more welcoming, immigrant-friendly state. CIRC achieves this mission through nonpartisan civic engagement, public education, and advocating for workable, fair, and humane immigration policies. When the pandemic hit and undocumented people were excluded from the government's stimulus checks, CIRC created a grant fund for undocumented Coloradans to receive relief. One of the grant recipients, who requested to remain anonymous, fled to the US from Guatemala in 2010 after threats and harassments from the father of her children. He wanted to take my children away from me, she recalls, and I couldn't let that happen. She moved to Alamosa, where she found a steady job doing food prep in a local restaurant and met her now husband. But the pandemic hit her family of 8 hard, and both she and her husband, they lost their jobs. With no income, it was near impossible to pay for food, utilities, and the internet needed for their children, so they could continue their education online. CIRC's mini grant provided the short-term support they needed to continue providing for their family and stay out of debt. Another grant recipient had to leave college in Mexico due to the economic crisis and came to the US in order to find work and financially support his parents. Over the next 2 decades, he fell in love and started a family of 5 with his wife. He had steady work at a Chinese restaurant, but when the pandemic hit, he was furloughed. If I hadn't received this support, he said of the CIRC grant, I wouldn't have had a roof over my or my children's head. I would have had to move our family out from our apartment in Colorado Springs to who knows where. There's a lot of discrimination that people without documentation face in this country, he added, but thankfully, CIRC and the donors advocate for us. I cannot express my gratitude for the support that was given to my children and I. You can make a donation now using the link posted in our chat or by sending a check to UUCB. Please be as generous as you can. We will now receive the offering. May our gifts be used to enact justice, bringing peace and love to the Boulder community. Thank you.
From the light of
May you go from this place knowing that you already walk in the beautiful fields and the frequencies of love, blessing, peace, and power. And may you go from this place knowing that you already have the capacity to open these fields wherever you go and for every single person that you meet. And I offer them to you now. I open for you the fields of love, of blessing, of peace, of power, and of everything else you need to walk a beautiful life on this earth. May it be so.
You gotta put one foot in front of the other and lead with love. Put one foot in front of the other and lead with love. You gotta put one foot in front of the other and lead with love. Put one foot in front of the other and lead with love. You gotta put one foot in front of the other and lead with love. Put one foot in front of the other and lead with love.
We invite you to stay with us in our Zoom rooms for a time of online fellowship and discussion. Barb and Fred are here to tell us, how's this going to work?
Yes, good morning, y'all. I'm Fred Cole.
I'm Barb Richards.
And we are serving our function of greeters, even though we're not behind the greeting table this morning. What's going to be happening is while we're chatting here,